Yes. Yes. Well, Snowman back again with the third installment on the 2x4 chest that I'm going to be making, or that I am in the process of making. I decided to go completely in a different direction, and that creaking you're hearing is me trying to line up my first attempt at inlaying. So what I did is I took some of the old cedar fence boards that you've seen me use several times before, and inlaid it into the hemlock fir 2x4 piece that I had made for the lid and the body of the chest. Now, since the original intention of this little chest was to have a slightly rustic look to it, I decided I'm actually going to leave the old nail hole in the wood because it gives it character. I mean, yes, the hole does go all the way through, but this is the lid, not the base of the piece, so use it for looks. And I'm undecided as to whether I'm going to leave the old fence board look as the interior. I personally think it has a good look to it, but you guys can post comments on the video and tell me what you think. Now, since this is my first attempt at inlay, things do not entirely line up. You can see gaps here and there, but I'll try and fix that with some sanding. Like you can see through this large gap right here. First attempt. I mean, I'm fairly happy with the fact that I even got it to fit inside the wood and not spread it out too much. So once I get this the cedar piece scroll saw work done, then I'm going to glue it into the lid, and then I'm going to take this to the router table and radius all four sides of this top so that it has a cleaner look to it than just the sharp edges. So, but work in progress as usual. No other projects really going right now, so this will be a shorter video. Still haven't decided what I'm going to do for the feet of the chest. The pieces of this cedar board that I ripped off of the sides came off in one piece, even with as fragile as the old wood is. So what I may do is sand a couple of arches into them and run them the length of the base of the chest so that the arches are here. That way it'll have not necessarily an ornate foot, but something nice instead of just a flat piece of wood. Just pick it up off the table a slight bit. They're not very big pieces of wood, and I'm going to have to sand them to this same size, but they are the same length as the chest itself, so that'll give it a nice touch, I think. Beyond that, not entirely sure what I'm going to do with the rest of it, if I'm going to do any other type of millwork to it, but you know me, I don't plan things out ahead of time. I mean, the fact that I even drew out where the holes were supposed to go to cut these 2x4s out, instead of just eyeballing it, that's a new step for me. Yeah. But, anyways, guys, third installment, 2x4 chest, and as always, clicky! Okay, so I've finally figured out what to do for the legs, front and rear, on the 2x4 chest that I'm making. These pieces, and I'm going to be cutting something out of the center here. It's kind of hard to see on the video. There we go. I'll be cutting that design out, and then these will be attached to the underside of the box like this, of course on both sides. And then, just because I can, I saved the cutouts for to make the front legs, and I'm actually going to use these as the back legs. So I'm going to position them let's see if I can get it in shot. I'm going to position them on the box like this, so that those will be the back legs. They're the ones that won't be seen very often, so they don't have to be nearly as ornate as the front ones as far as to give it a nice look. So, it's the working theory anyways. So, work is progressing. I'm still trying to decide what to do for a floor to the bottom and what scroll work I'm going to be putting into the top of the box. So, and just like that, the box has legs. Still doesn't have a floor, but legs are done. Well, they're cut out, and I've sanded the curves on the belt sander here to get everything all nice and pretty. They've been flat sanded, and then I just need to break all the corners to clean them up. But looks like the grain is going to come out quite nicely on these pieces. Nice straight grain, just like the grain in the fur, so they'll match up very nice. And yep, getting there, folks. I might actually have it finished in this lifetime. Maybe. Nah, I'm working on that. Okay, so the question that I've been asking myself is, what the heck do I want to use for the floor of the 2x4 chest? Well, that question finally answered itself as I found this piece of birch plywood, rather thin, and it wasn't quite big enough, even before I started cutting on it, to cover the entire bottom of the box. Plus, the exposed plywood edge would just be, in my mind, a little too ugly even if it was big enough. So what I've decided to do is I've already traced out the pattern, and I'm going to sit this plywood floor into the bottom half of the chest, just like I did the cedar on the top, on the lid. So like I said, I roughed it out on the bandsaw, got rid of all the extra material for as close as I felt getting to, or close as I was comfortable with getting to the pattern lines. And now it's just a matter of sanding it to size to fit inside that hollow 2x4. Loud noises. Now the trick here is going to be to sand it up to the lines and have it still fit. So it would kind of help if I had the 2x4 available to test fit it to. Since the line keeps disappearing in the sawdust, there we go. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it right up to the pattern lines and then test fit it, and obviously I don't expect it to fit right off the bat, and I'll be able to massage the ends, or massage all the lines until it does actually fit. this. Really, my biggest fear when I make pieces like this is that it's already too small. Now, it's definitely not too small. If anything, it's a little too long. So what I can do is take a little off of this end to trying to be gentle with this piece of plywood. It's the only one I have this size, since all my projects, oh, easy there, Slappy. Since all my projects come out of the scrap box, it's literally a case of beggars can't be choosers. And it's a tight fit, that's for certain. But a little bit of wood fill, since this is the bottom, I can get away with a little more of that. What I'll probably end up doing is taking some of this sawdust, mixing it with wood glue, and making my own filler. But other than that, yeah, we have ourselves a floor. So that's all the pieces. Yeah, I have to do more than a little filling. But I look at it this way: everything's an experiment till it goes right, and then it's a success. So, not really a failure. Well, so okay, so at this point, covered in sawdust and all. At this point, all the pieces are cut out and test fitted. Nothing's glued. Nothing's squared up or and attached at this point. Everything's all just press fit. But we now have the makings of a chest.
You came into my life. I don't have to wonder no more. I can feel it all in my soul.
It's soul music.
It's deep down in my soul.
Feel the burn. I can see I got a good foundation.
I'm still considering taking these front legs and radiusing off this edge right here with the router table, but being such a small piece, I'm just afraid that the router's just going to grab it and toss it across the shop. I really don't have a secure way to hold on to it without putting tool marks in it. So, let's see, 1 second. As I was saying, now all of those parts and pieces are starting to look like something. Now, the sides of the legs, I'm probably going to end up doing a half round design all the way up the sides of these legs here, so that gives it a slightly more finished look. Again, like I've said 100 times, I'm going to radius off all 4 sides of the lid here along these edges. So, well, can't really get a good shot of the back legs, although that's my point. The back legs are not going to be seen that often. So, there we go. Gives it a nice little design on the back. As far as the knotwork scroll saw pattern that I'm going to do in the top here, I'm probably going to stick with a more Norse design, because like I said before, to me, between that and Celtic, the Norse is closer to my heritage, and in my mind, a little more artistic. The beauties of a router table. Nice finished edge now, those burn marks from the dull router bit, I'm going to be able to just hand sand off, so that's no big deal. But I'd actually blended this little knot in the wood perfectly, so that's no big deal. So the lid has its radius, the back legs have their radius, and I decided to take the radius around 3 sides of the front legs, because this top part of the leg is going to be against the bottom of the box, so a radius there would just honestly look odd. So those are done, and on with the show. Now we're down to hand sanding to get all the parts to fit right. Let's see. I'm going to have to use a little more wood putty than I thought on the floor of the box to fill the gaps, because I really did make that part way too fast and didn't leave enough wood on there to quote unquote massage it into the bottom of the box. But yeah, I'm learning. The belt on the oscillating belt sander is very aggressive, and for hobby ply that was less than a 1/4 inch thick, I really should have slowed down and taken my time. Yeah, but live and learn. So from here on in, the next installment will probably be the scroll saw work for the top. I'll show you guys the pattern before I start cutting it out, and from there I'm just going to go with trying to find a nice finish for it to seal the wood without making it ungodly shiny. I don't know. Dutch oil might be my best bet to seal the wood, but I've also seen people use different types of waxes, so I'll look around, see what I can afford, if anything, and let you guys know in the next installment. More to come, guys.